Hi, and welcome back to another one of my reviews. Today I'm going to be discussing the Smurf girls and whether or not they and or Smurfette's new depiction in the 2021 cartoon are necessary. I was told about how whether or not their appearance should be necessary or not to the show, or to the whole franchise itself. So, I want to examine that. Short answer is, they don't feel that necessary to each other. The girls have their own thriving village, the boys have their own thriving village. What exactly did they add them for? The obvious answer aside, people complained about Smurfette being the only girl. Do they provide a necessity to better the society? We haven't really seen that since they kind of ended the Lost Village. Do the girls protect the boys or the boys protect the girls? Well, they've both been shown to be able to pretty much take care of themselves. Love? They've been shown to fall in love with other creatures and also have been surviving without the necessity for a female or male companion. Children? Well, again, the Smurfs have their babies delivered to them by storks, so there's no real need to have the Smurf girls in case the Smurfs were to die out because they just have their babies delivered to them. The obvious answer is they just threw them in there because people complained about Smurfette being the only girl. They show up, and when they do, we just see in the 2021 cartoon the same formulated female type of characters we see all the time. In the Lost Village, it was kind of just to show up the men a little bit, it felt like. The new female Smurfs are more mature, more intelligent, more everything than the boys are. So why did they need them, or why did the boys need them? Because they've been proven to show that they can take care of themselves and survive plenty without them. Now, Sassette and Smurfette were different because they were invented for a purpose because of the way that the story was set up. I'm not saying that Smurfette's intention was a good intention, but they turned it into something positive. Smurfette was created to trap the male Smurfs, but they made her a pivotal part of their society in the Hanna-Barbera cartoon and in the Lost Village, and in the 2011 movies. She was taken in and made a pivotal part by being shown about how to be a real Smurf. She was their love interest, but is there really anything bad with that? Is there anything wrong with male attraction to women or women attraction to males? True, she should be able to have more than that, but is there anything necessarily wrong with it? They could just write her having a different motivation that doesn't feel sexist, like they do now. Which brings me to the next topic, which is her new role as a Mary Sue karate master. There's no need for it because the boys don't learn from their mistakes of how to better themselves to be a better karate master. It just shows that they're contrived idiots that are just going to be doing this forever so she can have a better motivation. It kind of makes the men a little slow and sexist that just can't learn. And it makes her kind of uninteresting because she's just a Mary Sue now. She just learned how to do this from just reading a book. Why can't the boys learn also how to read from the book and do the things that she did? Why do they need her to do it? To teach them? She's uninteresting because she's a political statement for the era of the time. There's just nothing interesting about her anymore. Especially because they added the new Smurf girls. If there was 100 genuine Smurf girls that were always around, like the boys, then that makes her kind of feel a little bit more out of place. Because her motivation was she was the first girl ever invented of the Smurfs. With that gone, and with the idea that maybe the boys could fall in love with their counterparts, it kind of leaves her feeling a little bit uninteresting and kind of unnecessary anymore. And if they don't fall in love, if they don't better the society, it feels like that they don't serve a purpose other than just showing up, so what do they have them around for? It just feels like they show up every now and then to show up. They just show up whenever the story calls for it. And at times it just feels like it's to show up the men. And there's nothing much more to it than that. Like I said, they got along fine without them. It seems like that they can get along fine whether or not they're there or not. And they can just rewrite the show so that they can learn how to do things without them. They don't need necessarily girl counterparts or girl counterparts to teach them anything. The new Smurf girls just kind of show up whenever the story calls for it, and it's just really jarring to see the same type of girl characters we see in a lot of modern medium, and the fact that we just don't really see much about them. There's hardly anything to them. My opinion is my own. I say that they're just unnecessary to be in the franchise. Had they done something like, say, Gargamel invented them, or they were invented to maybe be love interests or to do something other than specific show up roles every now and then, maybe I would have a different opinion toward them. Like Gargamel wanted to perfect the Smurfettes that he wanted to use to capture them, and then they use that against him to save them. Or like with Sassette, Smurfette was lonely, so they invented a whole bunch of different girls with different personalities to be around. Or maybe the boys wanted a love interest, so they invented a few to have a companion with. These just don't feel like that they kind of benefit the story, other than to show up every now and then because Smurfette's the only girl. My opinion is my own. I say that they should just move on from these Smurf girls and move on to different versions of having Smurf girls in the franchise, like they did with Sassette. Nanny I still also kind of have a problem with, along with Grandpa Smurf, but that's a different story. If you like how they're written, that is good for you. I just am not a fan of the new writing of the show. And of The Lost Village. Anyway, this is my video, this is my opinion, and I hope you guys have a good day and maybe learned something or found what I said insightful. Again, I can't force you to, but this is just my opinion. Thank you and have a good day.